Okay, so section 2.2 is sort of a review of linear equations in one variable. And remember that a linear equation in one variable will have just one variable throughout the whole problem. So let's notice this only has x throughout the whole problem. And a linear equation will have x to the first power. And that's exactly what we have. And remember that the power is just unwritten when it's to the first power. So let's just recall how to solve an equation like this one. First, we need to distribute whatever is outside of the parentheses to the inside. So we need to do that here and here. And let's notice that we want to apply this as a -8 as we distribute it through these parentheses. So recall, we are going to get, when we distribute the 6, we'll have 6x, and 6 times 2 will be 12. And then we still have that 10 there. And then on the right side of the equation, we distribute that as a -8, so it'll be -8x, and -8 times 2 will be -16. All right, now we want to add like terms. And remember that things are like terms if they have exactly the same variables within them to the same powers. So for us, -12 and +10 are like terms. Our 6x can't be added to anything on the left. So -12 and +10 will be -2. And then on the right, we don't have any x's we can add together, but we can add together the 16 and the -16, which will cancel one another out. So now we have a 6x minus 2 equals -8x. Let's get our x's together on one side. And since there is a 2 over here with the 6x, the quicker route will be to take the 6x to the other side. Recall, to do that, we want to do its opposite on both sides. So I am going to, on both sides, subtract 6x. So I'll subtract it on the right, or on the left rather, and I'll also subtract it on the right. So on the left, 6x and -6x will cancel out, and I'll still be left with that -2. And on the right, -8x and -6x will give me -14x. And then recall, our last step is to divide out what is left with our x. So we'll divide out -14 on both sides. So I will divide by -14 here. Oops, still have my little thing on. And I will divide by -14 here. Notice that I put a division bar in for my division there. And on the left side, if I reduce -2 over -14, negative divided by negative is positive. 2 goes into itself once and into 14 7 times. So my answer is 1/7. Now, we can also check our solutions if we want. It's not necessary, but if you need to, you can. So if we put 1/7 back in for our x, back in the original equation, we should be able to work this out, and the left side should be equal to the right side. All right, so to do that, I need to do 1/7 minus 2 in parentheses here, and 1/7 plus 2 in parentheses over here. So let's just work our way through that. It'd been nicer if it had been a nice round value, but it's not. So I want to change 2 into sevenths, and all I need to do is think 2 times 7 to get the top, so that's 14 sevenths. Notice that reduces back to 2. So anytime I want to change a whole number into a fraction, I can multiply it by whatever that denominator is, and that will end up giving me the fraction I need. And let's do the same thing over here. If I multiply 2 by 7, I get 14 sevenths. Fortunately, those were the same. Now I'll go ahead and finish those parentheses. So 1/7 minus 14 sevenths is -13 sevenths. And over over here, 1/7 plus 14/7 is 15/7. All right, so let's continue checking. Now remember, when we're looking at this is really 6/1 times -13/7. And the same thing over here. This is really 8/1 times, 8/1 times 15/7. So we can multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms in fractions. So in our first one over here, we'll have 6 times -13. And 6 times -13 is -78 over 1 times 7, which will be 7. So I'll have my 10 sticking around. And then over here, I'll have 8 times 15, -8 times 15. And that ends up giving me 120. And 1 times 7 on the bottom will be 7. All right, now we still need common denominators to finish this off on both sides. So our common denominator is a 7. Let's multiply 10 times 7. That gives us 77s. And then 16 times 7 is 112 times 7, or rather 112 over 7. And now let's finish off both sides, and hopefully we have the same thing. So -78 plus +70 gives us -8 over 7. And on the right side, 112 minus 120 is -8 over 7. Now, it's not necessary to go through these checks all the time, but it's good to know how to do it. And of course, it's a good fraction review for us to have done that one.